Hello, my beautiful Scorpio souls, and welcome back to the Mystic AstroZen. If you found this video, it's not by accident, it's alignment. Whether you're 40 or 70, whether you feel on the edge of change or trapped in repetition, this message has arrived exactly on time. Take a slow breath, in through the nose and out through the heart. Feel that? That slight vibration inside your chest isn't nerves, it's recognition. Your soul knows what's coming before your mind does. Asterisk. November 2025 carries a rhythm unlike anything you felt in years. It's not just another turn of the calendar. It's a recalibration of destiny itself. For Scorpios between 40 and 70, this period marks the meeting point between reflection and redefinition. It's the era where wisdom meets willingness, where everything you've endured begins to make sense. You've weathered storms that others couldn't even name, learned patience where others gave up. And now the universe is preparing to return what endurance has earned you. Before we go further, pause with me for a heartbeat. Type in the comments, "I am ready for what's written for my highest good." Because when you write it, you declare it not to the algorithm, but to the energy that brought you here. And now, let me say this softly, dear one. This narrative is a mirror, a reflection of a potential timeline whispered into the universe for those who are meant to hear it. It's not a prophecy carved in stone, but a story written in light, a thought experiment for your soul. If this message awakens something familiar inside you, hold it gently. If it doesn't, release it like a cloud across the morning sky. Not every vibration is meant for every soul. This is an invitation to explore your own power, the quiet magnetism that attracts transformation when you least expect it. Now, breathe again. Can you feel how different the air has been lately? The energy of November has a way of stirring old memories, half-forgotten promises, and silent aches you thought you'd buried. That's how Scorpio evolves, through memory, through intensity, through transmutation. You, dear one, are not breaking down. You're breaking open. Between the ages of 40 and 70, a Scorpio's life shifts from proving worth to embodying truth. The world once demanded effort. Now it demands essence. And essence can't be forced. It unfolds. The universe is preparing to unfold something through you, and it begins quietly. Subtle patterns, coincidences that feel too deliberate, dreams that replay the same symbols. Those aren't random. They are the preface to transformation. Perhaps lately you've been sensing the unease, the strange mixture of excitement and fatigue. You may feel restless in places that once brought peace, or nostalgic for moments that never quite happened. That's because your energy is outgrowing its old container. The universe is not punishing you by closing certain doors. It's redirecting you toward the hallway, where your real life begins. You are entering a season where reflection will meet revelation. The decisions you make between now and the end of November will ripple through the next 7 years. But don't let that scare you. You've been unknowingly preparing for this alignment your whole life. The trials you survived, the mistakes that humbled you, the heartbreaks that stripped your illusions, each one trained your intuition to detect truth faster than logic ever could. Now that intuition is your compass. When you were younger, power looked like control. At this stage, power looks like surrender. And that's the paradox that Scorpio must learn to master. You no longer have to force outcomes. You attract them. By frequency, by emotional signature, by the quiet authority that comes from experience. You've already earned your wisdom. Now it's time to spend it wisely. In November 2025, the energy around you will feel almost electric. You may sense it before you see it. Technology malfunctioning, lights flickering, conversations turning unexpectedly deep. The veil between your inner and outer world will thin, making intuition louder and clarity sharper. Pay attention to the small shifts. A person's tone, a sudden opportunity, a long-delayed message. The divine rarely sends thunder. It speaks in tremors. Repeat this with me. I'm aligned with what's meant for me. Say it again, slower. I am aligned with what's meant for me. Each repetition rewires something subtle inside you. It tells the universe you're listening. Now, dear Scorpio, let's talk about what truly changes between 40 and 70. These years are not decline, they're distillation. The world told you growth was about addition, but real evolution is subtraction. You begin to remove what doesn't resonate, until only authenticity remains. And that's when life starts speaking to you clearly again. Many of you have noticed the same. Repeating career paths that stall just before success. Relationships that reflect the same emotional wound in different faces. Dreams that almost manifest and fade. This isn't punishment. It's pattern recognition. The universe doesn't test you to judge you. It tests to see if you've integrated the lesson enough to graduate. November 2025 is graduation month for Scorpios who've been doing the inner work. You may receive a call, a letter, or a chance that feels oddly fated. Don't overthink it. Feel it. You'll know it's part of your path when it brings peace, not comfort, but peace. Comfort numbs. Peace awakens. Follow what feels alive, even if it stretches you beyond what feels safe. Remember, Scorpio's evolution is always rebirth through awareness. Sometimes the universe dismantles your old identity, not because it was wrong, but because it was too small. You can't step into the next version of your life wearing the armor that once protected you. Let the armor fall. The world no longer requires your defense. It needs your depth. You'll notice something interesting this month. People will respond to your energy differently. Strangers may open up without reason. Past connections may reach out unexpectedly. It's because your frequency is shifting from effort to embodiment. You're radiating stability in a world starving for it. That's the magnetism of maturity, dear one. You've become what you used to seek. When uncertainty creeps in, and it will anchor yourself in this truth, you are not behind. Divine timing has no late arrivals. Every detour you've taken was sacred. Every delay was mercy. The universe withheld certain blessings until you are calm enough to hold them. And now, that calms your currency dot. As you stand on the threshold of November 2025, realize this. The coming events are not endings, they're exchanges. You are trading who you thought you were for who you truly are. You are no longer living reactively, you are responding consciously. This is where destiny becomes dialogue. Stay with me, because in our next chapter, we'll go deeper into how this alignment unfolds, the exact ways your past wisdom becomes your future opportunity, and why your next decision may quietly redefine everything you believed about timing, purpose, and power. And so we move forward, dear Scorpio, into the heart of November's current, the part where the invisible begins to take form. You might already feel it, a quiet rearranging of circumstances, people drifting closer or further away without explanation, the air humming with decisions that haven't yet been spoken. The universe is shifting the stage scenery of your life, and every movement, every silence, carries purpose. The energy of this month is what mystics call a recalibration. It's when the universe adjusts your inner vibration to match the reality your soul has been praying for. Sometimes that adjustment feels like chaos plans unravel, certainty dissolves, but underneath it, precision hums. What looks like disruption is actually orchestration. When the divine rewrites your storyline, it often begins by erasing the lines that no longer fit the plot. You've reached an age where life stops being a race and becomes a conversation. The younger version of you fought to prove, to build, to survive. This version of you listens, interprets, and chooses peace over applause. That's evolution, not fatigue. You're not slowing down. You're focusing in. The universe speaks to mature souls in subtler tones because it knows you've earned the ability to hear quiet truths. Somewhere between 40 and 70, time itself changes texture. It no longer stretches endlessly ahead. It gathers behind you like a cloak woven from memory. And yet, paradoxically, it feels more alive than ever. That's because you've entered the wisdom era, the phase where you begin shaping meaning rather than chasing milestones. November 2025 invites you to wear that wisdom boldly. The fated shift approaching is not punishment. It's promotion. You've outgrown old cycles, and the universe is rearranging reality to reflect that growth. Some of you may see this as opportunity and offer, a reconnection, a creative spark that feels like home. Others will recognize it through endings, projects completing, relationships closing, certain roles dissolving. Don't fear the closure. It's divine editing. What leaves now does so to free your bandwidth for what's next. Remember this mantra and let it echo inside you. What departs creates room for what's destined. Say it softly, then again, until it settles beneath your heartbeat. This isn't the season to cling. It's the season to clear. Between the 6th and 10th of November, the energy will tighten. You may sense urgency without knowing why, like standing under clouds heavy with rain. This tension isn't danger. It's delivery. Something you've waited for is descending, but the universe needs you still enough to receive it. Avoid overanalyzing. Rest more. Listen to the subtleties. The dream that feels prophetic, the conversation that feels orchestrated, the memory that surfaces uninvited. These are not coincidences. They are calibrations of consciousness. Affirm it with me now. I trust divine timing more than human urgency. Pause. Let this sentence vibrate through your chest. Again, I trust divine timing more than human urgency. Each repetition rewires the nervous system to peace. There will be a moment this month, perhaps a single conversation, perhaps a decision you've postponed, where you'll feel the subtle push of intuition. You'll think it's coincidence, but it isn't. That's destiny knocking softly. When it happens, breathe first, then act. The correct choice will never shout. It will exhale. If confusion follows, look at the pattern rather than the problem. Life repeats situations not to trap you, but to prove you've mastered the lesson. Notice where you no longer react the same way. That's progress invisible to others, but monumental to the soul. The Scorpio who used to chase validation is gone. The Scorpio who leads with silent assurance has arrived. These next weeks will test one, quality above all, your capacity to receive ease. After decades of surviving, abundance can feel suspicious. Joy can feel undeserved. But peace is not a prize. It's a permission slip. You've earned the right to exist without tension. When good things begin unfolding, resist the urge to look for the catch. Accept the blessing as evidence that the universe keeps its promises. Even the ones you forgot you made. November 2025 carries what astrologers call the reversal coda, spiritual pivot where karmic energy balances itself. For years, you gave more than you received. You carried responsibility that was never yours. This is the month where the scale tilts gently in your favor. The return may not come wrapped in glitter. It may arrive disguised as relief, as closure, as quiet confirmation that you are right to keep faith when logic said quit. That's cosmic justice, Scorpio style. You might notice people from your past resurfacing. Some will come with sincerity, others with unfinished energy. Don't rush to decide who stays or goes. Let vibrations speak before words do. When someone's presence brings heaviness, it's your cue to bless and release. When someone's presence brings calm, it's your cue to open your heart again. Both experiences refine your discernment, the most sacred power a mature Scorpio possesses. And if loneliness visits you in the midst of transition, remember it's not emptiness, it's spaciousness. The universe clears your field before it plants new seeds. Think of solitude not as isolation, but as incubation. The greatest revelations arrive in silence, and silence is finally finding you. As the month deepens, subtle symbols will follow you. Feathers, coins, repeating numbers, songs that echo your emotions. These aren't accidents. They're breadcrumbs leading you back to alignment. Each sign says the same thing in a different language. You're not alone. You're on schedule. By the third week of November, your energy stabilizes. What once felt uncertain begins to show pattern and rhythm. You realize the change you feared has already happened quietly inside you. That's how evolution works. It completes itself internally before reality catches up. You are already living the vibration of your next chapter. The physical world is simply rearranging to match it. When doubt rises, return to your mantra. I am aligned with what's meant for me. Say it under your breath while walking, driving, cooking. Each repetition acts like a tuning fork, summoning the version of your life that already fits your frequency. The universe doesn't respond to panic. It responds to precision. And clarity is your new currency. Something remarkable occurs once Scorpio stops trying to control outcomes. The world begins to cooperate. Doors you thought were locked swing open. Support appears from unexpected places. The timing of everything, emails, meetings, chance encounters, aligns with cinematic precision. That's not luck. It's resonance. The outside world mirrors your inner coherence. If at any point you question your progress, look backward only to measure distance, not to rekindle regret. The lessons that once hurt are now tools. Use them. The version of you that once begged for answers has become the guide others will turn to. Your journey was never about achieving perfection. It was about embodying compassion. That compassion is your superpower. Now. Stay close. Beautiful soul. Because in our next chapter we'll unveil what all this inner work was preparing you for. The visible manifestation of the invisible alignment. The moment where everything you've been building inside begins to echo through your external world. We'll talk about the opportunity that will appear like coincidence, but isn't, and the spiritual secret that allows it to last. And now, Scorpio, as the wheel turns toward the final weeks of November 2025, you step into the moment the universe has been quietly constructing for years. The changes that once felt scattered begin to weave themselves into pattern. Threads. Of your past, your choices, your lessons all converge into clarity. This is the season where understanding replaces confusion, where you finally see why certain paths had to close before new ones could open. There is a hush that comes before revelation, a sacred stillness in which destiny exhales. You might notice mornings feeling brighter, not because the light changed, but because you did. The energy that used to pull you backward has lost its grip. The weight you carried for others has lifted, and in that space, possibility blooms. The universe doesn't rush abundance into chaos. It waits until you're steady enough to hold it. And now, you are steady. Something extraordinary happens when Scorpio reaches this stage of life. Between 40 and 70, your power transforms from ambition into influence, from noise into presence. People sense your depth before you speak. Rooms feel calmer when you enter. That's not ego, it's evidence. You've earned an aura of certainty that can't be faked. November 2025 will reflect it back to you through one pivotal encounter. It might be a conversation, a collaboration, or an invitation that feels far too aligned to be coincidence. Don't question it, just listen. The universe doesn't shout. It confirms. You'll know this moment by the feeling it brings, a stillness that hums like music. When it arrives, breathe and remind yourself, everything meant for me recognizes me without struggle. This is the third affirmation, the final key in your sequence of alignment. Let it echo through your body. Again, everything meant for me recognizes me without struggle. Each time you whisper it, your energy tells the cosmos, I'm ready to receive without resistance, God, in these final days of November. You'll also sense a release of old fear around aging and time. You'll stop seeing the years ahead as countdown and start seeing them as crescendo. Time isn't running out, it's running toward you. Every year from now on will carry sharper meaning because you finally understand how to shape it consciously. The anxiety of what if transforms into the excitement of what's next. That's what the stars call mastery. There may still be moments of nostalgia memories surfacing like waves. Let them. They come not to haunt you, but to thank you. Every version of you that once fought to survive contributed to this serenity. The universe honors endurance as sacred currency. You've paid your dues. Now you're collecting interest in peace. As you integrate this new vibration, opportunities will start arriving in clusters. One may relate to your work, another to your personal calling, another to relationships that mirror your healed energy. You'll realize these aren't random gifts. They're extensions of everything you've been practicing internally. The outer world finally matches the frequency of your inner world. What you once prayed for is now praying to meet you. During this phase, act with quiet confidence. Say yes to what expands you, no to what drains you, and trust that both choices are acts of faith. The universe rewards clarity, not perfection. When uncertainty whispers, return to gratitude. Gratitude stabilizes energy faster than logic ever will. Between the 20th and 28th of November, notice a subtle but powerful calm settling over you. It will feel like walking into a familiar home after years away. That sensation isn't nostalgia, it's recognition. You've come full circle, but you're not who you were. You're standing in the same world with different eyes. That is enlightenment in practical form. Ordinary moments feeling sacred simply because awareness has arrived. Now look at how far you've traveled. The Scorpio who entered this year, questioning everything, is leaving it owning everything: your worth, your purpose, your rhythm. You've proven to yourself that intuition is not imagination. It's instruction. And now, that instruction is leading you toward expansion, far beyond the boundaries you once accepted. If you could see the energetic field around you right now, it would shimmer with gold and deep indigo, the colors of divine integration. Gold for wisdom, indigo for insight. Together they form the aura of a teacher, not because you sought the title, but because life bestowed it. Your experiences have become medicine for others, and the universe will soon place you where that medicine is needed most. That might be through words, art, leadership, or simple presence. Don't underestimate the power of your story. It carries codes for those still walking where you once stumbled. So when December's horizon begins to call, don't look back. The past will miss your energy, but it can no longer match it. Move forward with gentle certainty. Each morning, affirm, I walk in alignment with divine timing, and I am safe within change. Let that be your sunrise prayer. Say it before coffee, before worry, before news, because how you greet the day determines how it greets you. And as the calendar turns toward a new year, remember, destiny isn't an external event waiting somewhere in the distance. It's a vibration that meets you the moment you align with it. November 2025 simply opens the door. What you do with that doorway is your dialogue with the divine. You are not running out of time, Scorpio. Time is rearranging itself around your courage. Each decision you make from peace becomes a seed of longevity. Each act of kindness becomes a ripple that keeps returning multiplied. You are now living proof that transformation doesn't belong to the young. It belongs to the willing. As you close this chapter, take a deep breath and feel gratitude for every lesson disguised as delay. The universe has never been late. It was preparing the stage for you to arrive with authority instead of anxiety. Now that you're here, nothing can unwrite the readiness you embody. So stand tall, beautiful soul. Look toward the horizon of 2026 with calm anticipation. The alignment forming now will echo across the next decade. The work you've done in silence will soon speak louder than any introduction. When people ask how everything changed, you'll simply smile and say, I finally stopped resisting my own timing. Before we end, whisper this final affirmation into the quiet. I am ready for the destiny that's already aligned with my truth. Let it sink deeper than words. Let it become your rhythm. Because this, Scorpio, is what divine readiness feels like. Peace before the miracle. Thank you for sharing this space with me tonight. If this message resonated with your heart, speak it into the comments. I receive this transformation with gratitude. Your words are vibrations, and vibration is prayer. And if you haven't already, join our growing family here at the Mystic AstroZen, where we walk this cosmic path together in faith, clarity, and wonder, because this isn't the end. Dear one, it's the beginning of a brighter continuum. In our next chapter, we'll explore the great convergence of 2026, how the decisions you make now will crystallize into lasting abundance, love, and peace. Until then, stay grounded, stay luminous, and remember, the stars don't control you, they collaborate with your courage.